What's up guys, Zach here. It's going to be a video on how to change spark plugs. I'm going to be using my 1995 Acura Integra as an example, but this is how you do spark plugs. Alright guys, so all you need to change spark plugs on this car, or probably any car, is spark plugs themselves. I got my electric ratchet to take them off. I got my spark plug socket right there, the chrome one, and some extensions next to my flashlight. Just to get all the way down to the spark plug hole, you'll probably need that. And then if you have any covers or screws holding coil packs down or anything else in your way, you might need a couple little tools. That's why I have this 10mm socket and electric ratchet to get the screws off that hold the plug wires on. So I'm changing my spark plugs because I just bought this car and I have no idea when they were done. They're not that expensive and they're easy to do, so I'm replacing them. The plug wires I'm just replacing to make sure they're good and I have no issues because I'm gonna start driving the car a lot, and this car has 336,000 miles on it. All right, let's get in here and pop the hood. Most cars' hood releases are on the driver's side somewhere. Under the dash on the floor, driver's side. Pop the hood. So most cars, when you open the hood, this metal rod folds up and goes there where the arrow is. And that would make the hood open about here. But this car has a service position, as most do, and it's gonna be this lower hole. Still got a little divot in there. So if you go up there, you won't have as much room. Try and find a lower hole. Hood's still sturdy and open, just gives you more room. Alright, so I'm gonna do spark plugs and spark plug wires, and as you can see, all of these spark plug wires are different lengths, all four of them. But some cars, they are the same length, so do whatever you need to do to make sure they go back in the exact same spot. And especially back on the same spot on here. So take a picture of it, mark them with a tape or a Sharpie, number them, whatever you need to do. Make sure they go back in the exact same spot. I'm actually gonna take off that 10 and that 10. Those just hold these little brackets that hold the plug wires. So if you're just doing plugs, take off these 10s, pull all the plug wires out together, leave them together, they'll all stay in the same spot, and then you drape them back in together. So plug wires can get stuck sometimes. Specifically on the Honda, I just kind of recommend getting a finger on each side here and just straight up. To get a little stuck, you can just kind of twist and pull up, but basically you just want to pull as straight off as you can, no matter what the car is. Whatever you got to do to get straight on there and pull straight out, that's what you need to do. Because some other cars where it's part of the coil, they will break. They'll get stuck on there pretty good, so just be careful. Again, just pull these out. Careful if your exhaust is hot, you don't bump those. Also, I would recommend doing spark plugs when the engine's cold. Keep them all attached in their order. They're still on their little brackets. Just leave them like that and get them out of your way. If you have an air gun, I would recommend at this step, before taking out plugs, just get your face out of the way and just blow those once and get any shit out of there that could fall in when you take the spark plug out. And now's a good time to see if you got oil down in there. If you do, your valve cover gasket is probably leaking. All right, so I got my spark plug socket here. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a deep socket with a piece of rubber in there to hold the spark plug. So that when you're going in and out, the socket actually grabs on the spark plug to make it easy to get in and line up and easy to take out. So if you don't have one of those, figure out which one fits your spark plugs and go purchase it. I don't think it's very expensive to buy just one. For this car, 5/8 fits the Integra spark plugs. Going in there, and always break these loose by hand, even if you're using an electric gun or ratchet. I wouldn't recommend a gun, but a ratchet, take them out, break them loose by hand first, and then ratchet them out, and always go in just by hand. You do not want to break or over tighten a spark plug. Until these been in there for a while, they're starting to get that heat mark around the bottom there. Always turn left a little bit to get the threads to settle in, and then start tightening so that you don't cross thread. It's a little trick. Do a half a turn or full turn left, and then start tightening right. Now we need to torque it. So we got all 4 of our new spark plugs in. Remember to torque them to spec. When breaking loose or torquing, make sure you got your extensions straight up and down, not crooked at all. And yeah, just go one at a time, as I did, and then afterwards, just double check your torque on all of them. They shouldn't be very tight. These are only 13 foot-pounds. And yeah, spark plugs aren't very tight, but they need to be not over tightened and not too loose, because both of those can cause you big issues. Let's see where I got my torque specs. This is my manual for the Acura. It's only about 20 bucks. If you are gonna do more than maybe 2 or 3 things on your car ever, you might as well just get one of these. Very cheap. I like the Haynes manuals. Like I said, it was like 20 or 25 bucks, super inexpensive. So, chapter 1 is tune-up and routine maintenance. And so right at the beginning of the chapter, it has oil capacities right here. You have spark plug types, which you can look these up. If the manual's old, you might have to go on, NGK's website and see if that number goes to something new. But I think that's actually what our spark plugs were, so that number's still good. And then over here, we have torque specs for everything. We got transmission fluids and capacities. And then we got torque specs right down here. And if you'll see, second from the bottom is spark plugs, 156 inch-pounds. You can convert that online or divide it by 12, and that'll give you 12.99 foot-pounds. So I did 13 foot-pounds. And that's how we got our torque spec for our spark plugs. Highly recommend getting one of these if you're gonna do more than a couple things in your car. All right, now for spark plug wires. Like I said, I kept these all in the same order. So I'm gonna drape them back in here. Just barely set them in there. And if you want to change your spark plug wires, I highly recommend this. Do one at a time. So I'll do this long one first. Pop it out of its little brackets. Take it out of here. And now we can clearly see it's that bottom one. So do these plug wires one at a time, so you don't mix them up. You'll have huge problems if you mix them up on the distributor or on the engine, either way. The engine would be a little bit harder because they're different lengths, but pretty easy to hook them up incorrectly over here, so watch out for that.